Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sports Blitz here, and we're back with our NFL free agency day one grades. I don't have every single player that signed today in, but I do have quite a few. So, gonna go ahead and go over those grades. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I'm gonna be doing a grade video for these all the way through Friday. Really, for first 5 days of free agency, unless by the time we get to Friday, if we start seeing that like we're only getting 3, 4, 5 signings a day, then I'm probably gonna not worry about it. But as of right now, that is the plan. Also, real quick, I know the lighting right now is absolutely terrible. The time I'm recording right now is technically a little bit earlier than I normally do because, went through a time change here. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get on into it, though. Not waste too much time. Starting off, I have Milton Williams. Really, really massive signing. I think it's fair to say the biggest signing of the day. 4 years, 104 million, went to the Patriots. I mean, they kind of bamboozled us earlier thinking that he was going to the Panthers. I don't know what sort of offer that was, but the Patriots kind of swooped in, was like, no, we'll offer you more money, and ended up taking him. I think this kind of resulted in a bit of an overpay. But I mean, really, really talented defensive tackles aren't really crazy common anymore. So you can kind of understand why New England did it. Very elite pass rushing D tackle. I think he's solid in stopping the run too, but really elite when it comes to rushing the passer as a D tackle. So I gave them a B for it. I think Milton Williams' value is really more in like the 19 to 21 million a year range. I think once you start getting past that, you're really flirting with, like very, very top of the league D tackles. Like I think the only guys right now making more than that are Chris Jones and Christian Wilkins, I believe it is. And I don't know. Maybe Milton Williams would prove the contract, worth it. But I think it's a little bit too high, so I've got the Patriots with a B right now. So then for the next one, we've got the Commanders signing Javon Kinlaw. 3 years, 45 million. 45 million. 15 million a year, man. I mean, I get that coming out of the draft that year, Kinlaw was expected to be an absolute beast on the D line. We expected him to be really one of the best pass rushing D tackles, for years to come. That really isn't what he's turned out to be. Definitely been a big disappointment so far. And I just feel like this is a massive overpay for Washington. I don't know, maybe Dan Quinn can get him right. This kind of feels like an Adam Peters type of move because he was with the 49ers before. And I believe he was with that front office that drafted him. But again, man, like, I don't think Kinlaw's worth more than, like, maybe 8 million a year. Like, I don't know. This just feels like a massive overpay. I'm giving them a D minus for this one. Next, we've got Drew Dahlman, the Falcons center, going over to Chicago. I'm giving this an A plus. This is a 3-year, $42 million deal. He does become the second highest paid center in the league for this, but I think it's deserved. I really do. Very, very good center. As a Panthers fan, you guys know we've had to deal with him for a while now, and he's a good center. He's very good. I love the move Chicago has made along their offensive line this offseason. They've really shown how important it is to get protection for Caleb Williams going into his second year. I've still got some questions about the tackles right now. We'll have to see what happens there, but I think they're gearing up to, honestly, in my opinion, take a swing at Ashton Genty in the draft, which, I mean, that'd make the Bears offseason as a whole an A plus. Love the signing for the Bears. Very, very good signing. Carlton Davis, 3 years, $60 million to the New England Patriots. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the signing. I love him going to New England here. I think it's a good signing. I don't love the value. 20 million for Carlton Davis seems a little bit too rich for me. I think if they were to give him I don't know, 17, 16 million a year, I think I'd be a lot more high on this signing. I think that'd probably boost it more in the B to A range. I don't know. Maybe New England was kind of in a spot that they felt they had to overpay. Probably similar to the Milton Williams situation. There seemed like there were a few players the Patriots had to overpay, but I mean, hey, they're getting good players, so it'll probably pay off. But C plus, I feel like that's pretty fair. If he ends up having a really good year, maybe you could bump it into the B range, but I don't know. I think the contract's a little bit too rich for Carlton Davis here. DJ Reed, 3 year, $48 million to the Lions. I love this signing. Honestly, I think he's an upgrade over Carlton Davis, if you ask me. Got him for quite a bit cheaper than Carlton Davis signed for. I mean, I love everything about this. DJ Reed gets to go to a real contender. Pair him up with Terrion Arnold. I mean, that secondary I think gets a lot better. And I don't know if the Lions would have re-signed Carlton Davis, I wonder what they would have signed him to, how much they would have had to pay him. But I don't know. This just feels like a really clean upgrade for, honestly, for a corner of DJ Reed's caliber, pretty freaking cheap. I like the signing a lot. Next we have former Raiders safety Trayvon Merrick going to the Panthers on a 3 year, $51 million deal. I'm giving this a B. I love the signing. I think he's going to help the Panthers stop the run quite a bit. I think he's a very, very good box safety. I think he could get a little bit better in coverage. I think that's kind of his main drawback right now. So really, don't be surprised if the Panthers still add a coverage safety. Maybe like a Javon Holland or a Julian Blackman. That's kind of getting down a different rabbit hole here. I think this may be a little bit of an overpay for Merrig. Again, I love the signing. I love the fit. I think he's going to do well in Carolina. But I think 14, 15 million a year would have been a little bit more fair, and that's why it's in the B range rather than the A range right now. So now we've got Paulson Adebo, 3 year, $54 million a year. $18 million a year, 54 million total, to the New York Giants. I'm giving this one a B minus. This is kind of a deal that I didn't expect Paulson Adebo to necessarily get more than DJ Reed. He did seem like a player that was probably going to get a little bit overpaid. And don't get me wrong, Paulson Adebo is actually a very underrated corner, in my opinion. I think he's very, very talented, and he will help the Giants significantly. And I get it. The Giants are also kind of in a situation they kind of have to overpay some players if they want to get, a big upgrade in talent. So for Adebo, I love this deal, but again, a little bit of an overpay for the Giants. I think he's probably worth more in like the 15 to 16 million dollars range. Again, like you look at like the DJ Reed signing for the Lions, and it's like Adebo making $2 million more per year. It's kind of a result of the Giants having to overpay a little bit there. So I don't know, giving that a B minus. I like the signing. I don't love it. I think that's kind of all there is to it. Cam Bynum to the Colts on a 4-year, $60 million deal. I love this for the Colts. I'm giving this an A minus. I mean, good length, good average. Honestly, Cam Bynum was really a player that I didn't really have on my radar coming into this year, but he really, really stepped up and really played really well for the Vikings. I'm interested to see how he'll do with the Colts, where they don't have the type of pass rush the Vikings had. But either way, I mean, Cam Bynum on a $15 million a year deal. I mean, I love that for him. I feel like this is the sort of contract that the Panthers should have tried to give Trayvon Merrick. Again, I think it's just kind of a matter of they had to pay a little bit more than his value for him, so it makes sense. But I really like this contract for the Colts. Then we've got Sam Darnold on a 3-year, $100.5 million contract, $33.5 million a year. I don't know if I ever tweeted about it or said anything about it, but I was saying a lot that even if the Vikings don't re-sign Darnold, he's going to get a very similar deal to the Baker Mayfield contract. And I feel like I'm pretty sure the Bucks re-signed him again after that, so it's not his current contract. But yeah, I mean, $33.5 million a year, that's very similar to what the Bucks initially gave Baker. So I was right about that. I think this is very solid for the Seahawks. I'm interested to see where they go in the draft. Honestly, I feel like they're probably going to be targeting a receiver now. If they could possibly land like Matthew Golden to go along with Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think that's going to be a great offseason for them. Really, I don't consider this an overpay. Sam Darnold proved this year, really 14 out of the 18 games he played because of the playoff game. I'd say 14 or 15 of those games he proved, how good he actually is, I think a lot of the knocks on him came the last couple weeks of the season, and I feel like that's not really fair to do to a player. I think this is a good contract. Giving this a B plus for the Seahawks. Then we have Justin Fields to the Jets, 2 years, $40 million, 20 million a year. I actually like this quite a lot. In my opinion, I don't really consider it an overpay. I know a lot of people on Twitter were saying, no, why would they pay Justin Fields that much? He's a backup. I don't think he's a backup. Honestly, I was thinking the Steelers should, not necessarily would, but should re sign him. Really give him another chance. I didn't think they should have benched him last year. He really didn't turn over the ball a lot. I feel like he elevated that offense pretty well. And really, even going back to, 2021 when he was drafted, I liked him a lot in that draft class. I had him really only behind Trevor Lawrence that year. And that was really only because everyone, really including myself, I'm not going to act like I didn't, everyone thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to be this generational prospect. Once again, I was one of those people, so I'm not bouncing that, but I love Justin Fields in that draft class. I still think he can become a fantastic quarterback. So I like this really quite a bit for the Jets. Also, sorry again for the really awful lighting right now, guys. It's awful. I got the sun beating in right now, and it's just a bad angle. So sorry again for the lighting. But another thing about this is Justin Fields gets to reunite with Garrett Wilson, who he threw to in college. So that's a pretty big like connection sort of thing right there. I'd be interested to see how it works out this year. So then I've got some other notable contracts here. Probably going to go through these ones relatively quick. First off, Dre Greenlaw going to the Broncos on a 3-year, $35 million deal. Giving that an A+. I love that for the Broncos. I know he has some injury concerns. If he can stay healthy, this is a home run signing. I love the signing 100%. Honestly, I think the Broncos have kind of nailed this free agency so far. Because I also have on this list Talanoa Hufanga on a 3-year, $45 million deal. Another very, very talented safety getting $15 million a year. I mean, those are some big name players to add, and honestly, very, very solid contracts. I'm very impressed with the Broncos so far in free agency. Then we have, for the Panthers, signing Bobby Brown, nose tackle, on a 3-year, $21 million deal. I'm giving this one an A. Honestly, Bobby Brown was one of my guys that I was targeting quite a bit in free agency. He was kind of someone that and I was saying this on Twitter too. You can check the Twitter. That if the Panthers miss on Milton Williams, which they ended up doing, Bobby Brown would be an excellent fallback. And they ended up getting him. Honestly, I expected more like 9 to 10, maybe even upwards to 11 million a year. Only getting him for 7 million a year, and an incredible Shy Tuttle replacement there. Panthers had some major run stopping issues last year, and Bobby Brown definitely helps that significantly. So really like that for them. While we're on the topic of Panthers, there were also 2 other signings here that I wanted to talk about. Tershawn Wharton from the Chiefs, also defensive tackle, 3-year, $54 million deal. I know Wharton's going to be more of like a 3-4 DN sort of guy. Probably going to play more in like that Ashawn Robinson role. I'm giving this one a B minus. I don't actually love this one like a lot of other people do. Um, I thought Ashawn Robinson actually played quite well for the Panthers this year. He was tied for the team lead in sacks with 5.5. Was also one of our better run stoppers. Again, that's not really saying much because our run defense was awful, and well, obviously Derek Brown was injured the entire season. But again, I mean, 18 million a year for Tershawn Wharton when Ashawn Robinson had that type of year last year. I don't know that I really like that. Once again, for the Panthers, though, we got Patrick Jones, edge rusher from the Vikings, on a 2-year, $20 million deal. I'm giving this one a B. I've thought about this one a little bit, and I'm warming up a little bit to it. I didn't like it at first. But the more and more I looked into it, he was off to a phenomenal start to the last year. Had 5 sacks in the first 4 weeks. And then kind of got a knee injury that definitely hindered him throughout the season. You could definitely tell he was playing injured. He also was sitting behind Jonathan Greenard. Sorry, Jonathan Grenard. Pronounced that weird. So really didn't get as much playing time as you'd expect. So dealing with that and the injury and still getting 7 sacks along with that insanely strong start to the season, who knows? Maybe the Panthers got a steal here. So I'm giving that a B. I'm going to stay optimistic about that one. But kind of going back up the list here, got Travarius Ward to the Colts on a 3-year, $60 million deal. I like that the Colts improved their corner room here. Travarius Ward is a great corner. I don't love the value, though. This is literally the same contract that the Patriots gave Carlton Davis. And right now, I would say Ward is better than Davis. However, Ward is also kind of getting up there in age. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's also had some injuries. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's had some injuries. So there's that. So I'm giving that a B minus. But that could end up being a really good deal. As I'm recording this, the Saints are also actually re-signing Chase Young on a 3-year, $51 million deal. I don't know how the Saints were able to afford this, but that's definitely interesting. I thought he played pretty solid for the Saints down the stretch last year. I believe he had 6.5 sacks. Let me fact check that for you guys real quick. 5.5 sacks. So I mean, pretty solid down the stretch there. He kind of gets a solidified home there in New Orleans, so happy for him. I would probably give that Chase Young signing, I'd probably give that like a B plus, but it's also a situation that, like, what are the Saints gonna do? Like, did they just backload the crap out of that contract and are paying him like nothing this first year? I don't know. I'm interested to see how they get out of their cap situation after that. Like, that's crazy to me. But anyways, back to the list. We got Josh Sweat going to the Cardinals on a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. I'm giving this an A+. He was easily the best edge rusher available in free agency. This one wasn't really a difficult one to predict. Going back to the Cardinals with his ties to Jonathan Gannon. Sorry, I totally forgot his name for a minute. Yeah, going back with his ties there, not really a difficult prediction there. That was kind of where all of us thought he was going to go. What I'm surprised about is the value. I thought he was going to get 22, 23, 24 million a year. Instead, he only gets 19.1 million a year. I mean that's an A+ contract, 100%. Really love this for the Cardinals. They've really needed some edge help for a while now, and I'm curious to see if this, keeps the Cardinals from drafting an edge rusher. I think it'll kind of depend on how the board falls, but I'm pretty intrigued. I really like this contract for them though. For the Packers, they pretty quietly signed cornerback Nate Hobbs today to a 4-year, $48 million deal. I say pretty quietly because I saw like two people report this and nobody else talking about it afterwards. Which I'm kind of surprised because Nate Hobbs, I feel like, was a pretty big name in the cornerback market. So I kind of expected that to get a little bit more noise there. But I like this for the Packers. Only 12 million a year. Getting a lot younger at the position after releasing Jair Alexander. I'm giving this a B plus. I was tempted to go into the A range, and honestly, like, I wouldn't argue if someone wanted to give it like an A minus or something. Really like this for the Packers though. Once again for the Packers, they also signed offensive guard Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million deal. I like this quite a bit. Honestly, I was kind of surprised the 49ers didn't bring him back. I thought he was kind of one of the few bright spots on that 49ers team. So, well, sorry, on the 49ers offensive line. Sorry, the team has a lot of bright spots. The offensive line does not. So, I don't know. I really like this for the Packers. I really don't think it's that crazy of an overpay either, considering how quickly guards are becoming more valued. So I like it. I'm giving it a B. Also, as I'm recording this, the Chargers are signing former Steelers running back Najee Harris. Only a 1-year deal, 9.25 million. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it's only 1 year. I would have expected probably a 3-year deal. I'm not surprised it's the Chargers. I expected it either them or the Raiders. I know my brother's a Steelers fan, so I'm kind of interested to see, how he'll react to that. I know he likes Najee Harris, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's a big signing for the Chargers. Once again, I think it should have been 2 or 3 years, but honestly, only 9 million. I'm gonna probably give that like a B plus or A minus sort of range. Good signing for the Chargers. But then back to the list, we got Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle to the Bears, signed literally within hours of getting cut by the Falcons. I thought it was going to take more time for him to really pick a team to sign to because he was with the Falcons for a long time. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a good decade. So I didn't think he was going to re-sign with a new team that soon after. it is a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. That comes out to $14.5 million a year. And I'm going to be honest on this one. I don't particularly love it. I don't hate it for the Bears, but I don't love it. He's definitely declined quite a bit the last, 2, 3, 4 years. And so 14.5 million a year definitely seems a little rich for me. Especially on a 3-year contract. I mean, I don't know. I'm giving it a C plus still because it is an area of need for the Bears. It will help their run stopping. And really, like, the run stopping is what the Bears defense needed. Their secondary is already very, very good. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on that one. I'm sticking with the C plus there, but I can't say I love it. I really can't. Last one on my list for the night, Javonte Williams going to the Cowboys on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. Given that a C minus. This is kind of a disappointing thing by the Cowboys, and I'm sure Cowboys fans probably feel the same way. Look, Javonte Williams has had some injury issues. Definitely hasn't been what he was year one, his rookie year. Definitely his injuries have really screwed with him quite a bit. And this kind of feels like just another mediocre replacement to kind of go along with Rico Dowdle. I know Rico Dowdle actually played quite well down the stretch for the Cowboys. And Williams is an upgrade over Ezekiel Elliott. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. This just kind of screams, hey, you guys wanted another running back? Well, here you go. And just kind of a lazy pick. Or not pick, but signing. I don't know. That's my take on it, but let me know what you thought of the grades in the comment section below. Let me know if I'm being too high or too low on certain players or their contracts. It was an exciting day one of free agency. I'm sure we're going to get more tonight. Once again, I'm going to be doing these all the way through Friday. Again, unless the signings slow down too much by Friday and there's not really much to report, then, I'm not going to be doing it then. But again, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Later.